trees under the heavy purple haze. Static crackles through the radio in the jagged maze. Lick sludge in the speakers hitting like a brick. Staring at the yellow lines making me feel sick. Chrome reflects the ghost of a city left behind. Glitch in the vision messing with the hollow mind. Engine humming low like a beast in the cage. Turning over blank leaves of a burnt out page. Hydraulic breath exhaling from the rusted vents. Counting down the hours for the dollars and the cents. Subwoofer throbbing in the hollow of my chest. Scanning every alley for a place to finally rest. Cruising through the void where the signals go to die. Digital horizon meeting with the charcoal sky. Velvet on the dash and the windows tinted cold. Swallowed by the motion of a mechanical soul. Data streams dripping down the windshield like rain. Numbing out the frequency of a localized pain. Eyes locked steady on the flickering red light. Dissolving in the belly of the synthetic night. Tires spinning circles on the grid of the grid. Hiding all the secrets that the ancestors hid. Pulses out of sync with the clock on the wall. Waiting for the gravity to take it in the fall. Cruising through the void where the signals go to die. Digital horizon meeting with the charcoal sky. Velvet on the dash, in the windows tinted cold. Swallowed by the motion of a mechanical soul. By the motion of a mechanical soul.
Reflects a midnight void so black. Tires bite the asphalt on the track. Shadows bleed through the cockpit glass. A low hum from the engine mask. I navigate a map of ghostly cars. The dashboard glows as the stars fall. Feet in the dark with steady pace. Passing towers of empty space. The night is a cloak of obsidian. Filtering noise from the day span. A passenger in my own machine. Watching the world dissolve unseen. The silence speaks in a guttural tone. Deep in the throat of the dark alone. Drifting through the static of the silent age. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold rage. Speed is the only weight I bear. Under the gaze of the moon's synthetic stare. Concrete horizons melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve. Lost in the depth of the metal tide swerve. Street lamps flicker like neurons that fail. Data packets drift in the humid veil. Hands steady on leather and carbon type. Eyes fixed on the vanishing points light. No destination written in the code. Just a motion of a soul on the road. The city breathes an electric fog so thick. While the deers grind time away quick. The night is a cloak of obsidian. Filtering noise from the day span. A passenger in my own machine. Watching the world dissolve unseen. The silence speaks in a guttural tone. Deep in the throat of the dark alone. Drifting through the static of a silent age. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold rage. Speed is the only weight I bear. Under the gaze of the mint synthetic stare. Concrete horizon to melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve. Lost lost in the depth of the metal pipework, drifting through the static of the silent age. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold rage. Speed is the only weight I burn under the gaze of the moon's synthetic stare. Concrete horizons melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve, lost in the depth of the metal tide swirl. Ironwood vibrates the velvet speaker sound. Thirst for the origin, make the seeker proud. I hear the ancestors in the frequency high, blend the ritual with the urban sky. The wooden bridge spans, the digital sea, deep reach moving, synchronicity. Technicolor dreams on the granite base, the oldest sound in this changing place. Tectonic shifts under silk and leather, pulling divided centuries back together. Not a relic frozen in a glass display, but a living lightning finding a new way. Ancient wire pumps through the modern marrow, silver lineage travels the bow and arrow. From the dust of mountains to the concrete hollow, the spirit leads where the heavy pulses follow. Ancient wire pumps through the modern marrow, one bloodline that the future cannot borrow. Sharpened edges of a synthetic land, search for melodies that escape command. The drum machine thuds like a giant walking, while hollow boards and the strings are talking. The signal flows where the old rivers ran, connecting the tribe to the future plan. A coded language in the neon light echoes the fire from the ancestral night. Basic tectonic shifts under silk and leather, pulling divided centuries back together. Not a relic frozen in a glass display, but a living lightning finding a new way. Ancient wires slumps through the modern marrow, silver lineage travels the bow and arrow. From the dust of mountains to the concrete hollow, the spirit leads where the heavy pulses follow. Ancient wire pumps through the modern marrow, one bloodline that the future cannot borrow. Travels the bow and arrow, from the dust from mountains to the concrete hollow. The spirit leads where the heavy pulses follow. Ancient wire comes to the modern arrow, one bloodline that the future cannot borrow. Metal veins of this concrete hive, I feel the pulse of a serpent alive. Ancient incense cuts to gasoline, a ghost within the chrome machine. Drifting sideways through the static haze, losing my reflection in the violet maze. The wheels spin circles but the soul stands still, surrendering to the heavy iron will. A humming in the marrow of my bones, a transmission coming in heavy tones. Glide across the asphalt like a needle on the track, going where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallows every fear I used to know, moving with the current where the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath, a temporary victory over the silence and the death. Silence and the death, silence and the death. The desert sand hides under layers of the street. The modern and the primal are beginning to meet. every turn I take like a prayer unsaid. Watching all the daylight slowly wither and go dead. My hands on the leather, but my mind in the sky. Looking for a truth that the science cannot lie. I recognize a melody from long ago, a hidden seed of wisdom starting now to grow. Breaking through the pavement with a quiet force, returning every river to its primal source. Glide across the asphalt like a needle on the track, knowing where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallows every fear I used to know. Moving with the current where the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath. One long breath. A temporary victory over the silence and the death. Silence and the death. Silence and the death. The heavy weight of living, lighter than the air. When you find a secret portal, hidden in the glare. Step into the vacuum where the pressure starts to drop, knowing that the motion is never gonna stop. Glide across the asphalt like a needle on my track, going where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallowed every fear I used to know. Moving with the current, yeah, the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath. One long breath. A temporary victory over the silence and the dead. There's silence and the dead. There's silence and the dead. I am drifting through the silver haze, tracing patterns in the cosmic maze. Vibrations pull beneath my feet, where the ancient and the future meet. I see the spirits in the heavy load, moving faster than the shadows go. Everything is bending out of frame, nothing here will ever stay the same. The frequency begins to climb, breaking through the walls of time. The current flows inside my veins, cutting all the heavy iron chains. Spiral down into the velvet deep, waking from a long and hollow sleep. The heavy pulse is all I need to feel, spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew, dissolving in a shade of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide, nowhere left for anyone to hide. Ancient wires humming in the dark, igniting every solitary spark. The heavy weight is pulling at the floor, while I am reaching for the open door. The frequency begins to climb, breaking through the walls of time. The current flows inside my veins, cutting all the heavy iron chains. Spiral down into the velvet deep, waking from a long and hollow sleep. The heavy pulse is all I need to feel, spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew, dissolving in a shade of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide, nowhere left for anyone to hide. Spiral down into the velvet deep, waking from a long and hollow sleep. The heavy pulse is all I need to feel, spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew, dissolving in a shade of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide, nowhere left for anyone to hide.
just a ghost I knew.
Silk threads stretch across the dusty plain. Wooden bowls bend under silver rain. Ancient vibrations climb the canyon wall. Ancient spirits answer the valley call. Gold coins rattle in a hollow chest. 7 stars burn in the lonely west. The wind carries whispers of a tongue long gone. Songs that the mountains have always sung. The earth starts to tremble beneath the sand. Heavy smoke rises through the freezing land. Iron wings cut through the midnight blue. Old ghosts awaken to something new. Pressure builds in the hollow ground. Silent shatters by the heavy sound. Legacy rises from the red clay soil. Ancestors watch through the sweat and toil. The sharp sting of strings on a heavy pulse. A truth so bitter it must convulse. Thundering shadows on a valley floor. We don't need keys to open the door. History breathes through the modern skin. Let the heavy storm begin. Sandalwood burns on a concrete street. Iron boots march to the steady beat. Ivory carvings and a glass display. The sun turns purple at end of day. Braided wires tangled in a willow tree. Locked in a cage but the mind is free. Ancestral echoes in the digital haze. Walking through a burning maze. The earth starts to tremble beneath the snare. Heavy smoke rises through the freezing air. Iron wings cut through the midnight blue. Old ghosts awaken to something new. Pressure builds in the hollow ground. Silent shadows by the heavy sound. Legacy rises from the red clay soil. Ancestors watch through the sweat and toil. The sharp sting of strings on a heavy pulse. A truth so bitter it must convulse. Thundering shadows on the valley floor. We don't need keys to open the door. History breathes through the modern skin. Let the heavy storm begin.
Spins a web of heavy silk across the marble floor of ancient halls. A pendulum that swings through thick and milk, while shadows stretch on crumbling walls. I watch the needle pierce the velvet sky. The incense curls like serpents in the air. No need to search for where the secrets lie. They dwell within the silence of the glare. A low frequency vibrates in my marrow. A steady pulse beneath the golden dust. The path ahead is winding and is narrow. Between the spikes of greed and lust, the drone becomes a river wide and deep. It carries off the fragments of the day. While all the city watchers fall asleep, I find a melody to lead the way. Drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy currents flow. Magnetic pulls that never let me go. Below the surface where the giants grow. A hollow humming in the copper wire. The cold affection of a frozen fire. The spirit climbing on a rusty spire to reach the peak of every dark desire. Transmissions from the start, it burned away. Art caught inside the hollow of my palm. artificial calm. The desert breeze, a sigh of shifting sand. The glass is melting in the summer heat. I hold the compass in my steady hand and listen to the grinding fleet. The low frequency vibrates in my marrow, a steady pulse beneath the gate and dust. The path ahead is winding and is narrow, between the spikes of greed and lust. The drone becomes a river wide and deep. It carries off the segments of the day, while all the city watchers fall asleep. I find a melody to lead the way. Drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy currents flow. Magnetic poles that never let me go, below the surface where the giants grow. A hollow humming in the copper wire, the cold reflection of a frozen fire. The spirit climbing on a rusted spire to reach the peak of every dark desire. Drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy currents flow. Magnetic poles that never let me go, below the surface where the giants grow. The silver wire vibrates on hollow wood, transmitting ancient currents through the hood. I watch the heavy smoke dissolve in gray, where hidden spirits in the stillness play. A steady pulse beneath the street dust cloud, distorting every fracture in the tide. The gravity pulls on the velvet skin to let the deeper shadows all come in. The magnetic pull now drags across the floor, beyond the threshold of the final door. The copper taste of lightning on the tongue, the oldest song that ever has been sung. Drifting through the heavy violet haze, floating on the night's crushing burst. The cycle turns within the soul spiral maze, until the broken fragments coalesce. The serpent moves along a dark fretboard, igniting every dormant spark ignored. The frequency is rattling the bone, a king upon a liquid shifting throne. No compass needle points towards the north, just motion pushing further back and forth. The architecture of a mind just sway as familiar visions melt away. The magnetic pull now drags across the floor, beyond the threshold of the final door. The copper taste of lightning on the tongue, the oldest song that ever has been sung. Drifting through the heavy violet haze, floating on the night's crushing press. The cycle turns within the soul spiral maze, until the broken fragments coalesce. Until the broken fragments coalesce.
Chrome reflects a flicker of the sodium haze. 60 miles of static in a dead-end maze. Asphalt veins are bleeding under heavy steel. Something in the engine makes the silence feel. Concrete towers leaning like they wanna fall. Black
out window staring down a hollow hall. Ghostly voices stutter in the radio wire, fueling every shadow with a cold desire. Shift the way to watch the city drift away. Nothing left to salvage in a bird of gray. Keep the needle climbing till the vision clears, cutting through the static of 1,000 years. Midnight drifting on a razor edge, tearing through the city from the outer ledge. Hard and leather gripping on the spinning wheel, broken pieces turning into something real. Darkness flowing like a liquid sea, chasing down the monster that I used to be. Driving till the stars begin to fade out slow, running where the heavy water currents flow. Here's a tiny syncopated dirty beats, shadows playing puzzles on the empty streets. Oil slick mirrors catching every sickly light, swallowed by the belly of the endless night. System breathing heavy in the cooling fan, searching for the flicker of a hidden plan. Tires screaming secrets to the frozen ground, safe inside the fortress of a lonely sound. Shift the weight and watch the city drift away. Nothing left to salvage in the blur of gray. Keep the needle climbing till the vision clears, cutting through the static of 1,000 years. Midnight drifting on a razor edge, tailing through the city from the outer ledge. Hot and leather gripping on the spinning wheel, broken pieces turning into something real. Darkness flowing like a liquid sea, chasing down the monster that I used to be. Driving till the stars begin to fade out slow, wondering where the heavy water current flow.
Silk thread stretch across the desert heat. Sand dances under my callous feet. Ancient timber carves through the wind, where the spirits of the elders begin. The hollow body echoes 1,000 years, washing away forgotten tears. Pluck the wire until the tension breaks. Feel the mountain and the valley shake. Iron heavy chest while the cadence flows. Watch the shadow as the horizon glows. Petal fall on a sharpened blade. Memories of a dynasty that will not fade. Dust rising from the heavy kick, like the fuse, let the henna fire flick. Hand carved tales in each vibration, building a bridge across the nation. Indigo die on the midnight road, searching for a signal across the globe. Hand crushed ink stains every verse, lifting the weight of an old curse. Legacy in a grain of dark wood, doing everything the ancestors said we should. From the high peak to the river mouth, chasing up, pulled towards the deep south. Unbroken lineage in a steady pulse. Nothing else matters when the truth is false. Carry the sky on a silver string, listen to the song the quiet hills sing. Hollow bamboo whistles in frozen air, tracing the lines of a ghost no longer there. Gritty textures grind on polished stone, binding the kingdom on a solitary throne. Woven patterns in the rhythm of the loom, chasing the heavy shadows from the room. The friction of the bow makes a new spot, illuminating corners of the vast dark. The snare snaps like a crack in the ice, paying for the future at a price. Every pluck a pebble in the well, breaking the silence, ringing the bell. Legacy in the grain of dark wood, doing everything the ancestors said we should. From a high peak to the river mouth, Chasing love, pull towards the deep south. Unbroken lineage in the steady pulse. Nothing else matters when the truth is false. Carry the sky, God on a silver string. Listen to the song the choir, he'll sing. Legacy in the grain of dark wood, doing everything the ancestors said we should. I'm the high beat to the river mouth, chasing up bull towards the deep south. I'm no lineage in the steady pulse. Nothing else matters when the truth is false. Carry the sky on a silver string. Listen to the song the choir, he'll sing.
Glints under the sodium haze, a heavy drift through the concrete maze. The jungle swallowed by the mist, counting seconds that don't exist. The engine hums a low drone sound, a ghost and circuits underground. Tires bite the rain slick floor, pushing for something more. The skyline looms a jagged blade, cutting through the silence made. Digital ghosts and rearview blast, watching hollow centuries pass. Static rattles in the frame, no one left to say my name. Filtering the air so cold, trading spirit for circuits and gold. The friction ignites, the air so thin, stripping layers from the skin. A fighter momentum takes its toll, merging metal with my soul. Black asphalt bleeds into the deep, while the galaxy falls asleep. Velocity rising in a stream, drowning out a broken dream. The city pulses a cold machine, living in the spaces unseen. Accelerate till stars collide, nowhere left to run or hide. I see the data leak from sky, a pixelated tear in a metal line. Heavy bass vibrates in the bone, king of a silicon stone. Dashboard glows a pale blue light, navigating endless night. The roads are wire, I'm the spark, searching gravity in the dark. The friction ignites, the air so thin, stripping layers from the skin. A fine momentum takes its toll, merging metal with my soul. Black asphalt bleeds into the deep, while the galaxy falls asleep. Velocity rising in a stream, drowning out a breaking dream. The city pulses a cold machine, living under spaces unseen. Accelerate till stars collide, nowhere left to run or hide. Black asphalt bleeds into the deep, while the galaxy falls asleep. Velocity rising in a stream, drowning out a broken dream. The city pulses a gold machine, living in the spaces unseen. Accelerate till stars collide, nowhere left to run or hide. Silk thread stretch across the Hollywood, carved by hands that understood the mud good. Ancestors breathe through the silver wire, flicking sparks into a low-grade fire. Heavy kick stud like a giant heart, Pulling ancient modern frames apart. Gold chains clink on a woven vest, putting every shallow ghost to test. Iron sights fixed on the rising sun. Roots dig deep before the sprint's begun. Technique calls meets the goat skin bend. Let the heavy bass, let the ritual begin. Cobblestone meets the asphalt heat. Friction singing underneath my feet. Luck in history that no one told. Turning dusty copper into gold. Resonance rising from the floor, breaking hinges on the temple door. Thump of the machine and the soul's on call, making shattered pieces cultural. Mountains high above the concrete grade, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete grade, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Sharp notes cut through the murky haze, navigate the neon purple maze. 7 tones in a 5-tone scale, set the heavy iron ships to sail. Fingers move on the ivory bridge, build a castle on the highest ridge. Bloodline in the digital stream, wakes the giant from a long lost dream. From the mountain to the subway floor, knocking on the future with a roar. Old world hunger in a brand new mouth, heading to the north by way of the south. Mountains high above the concrete way, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete way, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete way, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Silk thread stretch across the ancient desert ground. I walk through deserts where no one else is found. Copper wires underneath my tired feet, where jagged mountains and the city skyline meet. Old wooden bowls bend under heavy hands, spilling silver tunes across the burning sand. I carry stories that the elders never told, turning tales to alloys made of steel and gold. The past is breathing down the narrow hall, writing omens on the gray industrial wall. The balance shifts inside the heavy air, I find a sanctuary waiting there. Ancient ghosts awaken in the modern machine, the space between the silence and the scream. I hear the hollow ringing of the valley deep, while all the restless giants fall asleep. The heartbeat buzzes through the weathered stone, our kingdom built on foundations of the unknown. Iron clouds are gathering above the market square. I see the lineage in a stranger stare. Fingerprints are pressed into the drying clay, while sirens chase the fading light of day. I balance on the edge of what was lost and found, to the sound of thunder shaking underground. No more waiting for the seasons to arrive, the architecture keeps the past alive. The past is breathing down the narrow hall, writing omens on the gray industrial wall. The balance shifts inside the heavy air, I find a sanctuary waiting there. Ancient ghosts are waking in the modern machine, the space between the silence and the scream. I hear a hollow ringing of the valley deep, while all the restless giants fall asleep. The heartbeat pulses through the weathered stone, the kingdom built on foundations of the unknown. vibrations of the unknown.
Stretched across the ancient valley floor. Dust kicks up against a heavy wooden door. I see the spirits moving in the shifting sand. Legacies held in a trembling hand. The pluck of silk vibrates the hollow bone. A melody of seeds that were never sown. The ground is thirsty for the stories of the old, buried deep beneath the silver and the gold. The tension builds inside the wooden frame. Nothing stays the same. The vibration starts to shake the very air, stripping every secret bed. Ancestral breath is moving through the wire, burning cold like a phantom wildfire. The mountains lean to hear the heavy sound, rising upward from the frozen ground. We carry every shadow that they left behind, in the labyrinth of a restless mind. The earth is turning under heavy boots, searching for the tangle of the roots. They say the sky remembers what the rivers forget, every promise and every unpaid debt. The strings are pulling tight across the open space, mapping every line upon a weathered face. Stealing cedar cash in a rhythmic dance, leaving nothing to the mercy of chance. The beat is steady like a hammer on a nail, setting course along a long forgotten trail. The tension builds inside the wooden frame. Nothing stays the same. The vibration starts to shake the very air, stripping every secret bare. Ancestral breath is moving through the wire, burning cold like a phantom wildfire. The mountains lean to hear the heavy sound, rising upward from the frozen ground. We carry every shadow that they left behind, in the labyrinth of a restless mind. The earth is turning on your heavy boots, searching for the tangle of the roots. Ancestral breath is moving through the wire, burning cold like a phantom wildfire. The mountains lean to hear the heavy sound, rising upward from the frozen ground. We carry every shadow that they left behind, in the labyrinth of a restless mind. The earth is turning under heavy boots, searching for the tangle of the roots. Static crawls beneath the skin of boulevard. Black ink bleeds through a broken car. Headlights carve the void in hollow chase. Accelerate till I can't feel my face. Glass reflection shatter on the cold dashboard. Tuned to a frequency the saints ignore. Every shadow's pressed a velvet sea. Listen to the concrete hum its heat. Chrome veins pump oil through the heart of haze. Lost inside this flickering maze. Gears grind down to 4 a.m. silence. Every exit leads to my defiance. Rubber burn scars on the surface of night. Chasing phantoms of a fading satellite. Oxygen thins as the altitude climbs. Counting secrets between power lines. Pressure building up behind the dash's light. Sifting through 1,000 lonely flights. Vibration shakes the anchors of a past. This velocity was never meant to last. Concrete fever dragged me into gray. Chasing ghosts and then I killed away. Metal ribcage rattles in low wind. Forever journey is the sin be.
Shit on the K, beats holes in the dark. Ignition sparks a die in electric car. Tires bite hard into the throat of turn. Feeding fuel to heavy spirits burn. More signals from the tower base. Only momentum and the hollow space. Grip the wheel until my knuckles turn to stone. The asphalt is the only kingdom I own. Pressure building up behind the dashes light. Sifting cool down in lonely flights. Vibration shakes the anchors of the past. This velocity was never meant to last. Concrete fever drags me into gray. Chasing ghosts the day I killed away. Metal ribcage rattles into wind. Where the journey is the 10 begins. Engine scream a lullaby of lead. Following the maps inside my head. Total blackout swallows the review frame. Leaving every witness without a name. Concrete fever drags me into gray. Chasing ghosts the day I killed